So as I said last week, I haven't played the second game yet, but the big moment happened in this week's episode of The Last of Us, as well as another huge scene that could change the series moving forward. Right, let's get into it. The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2. Spoilers ahead, you've been warned.
It doesn't matter if you have a code like me. There are just some things everyone agrees are just wrong.
Let's just do what we came to do.
Okay, so there are only two real big things that happened in this episode. First up was the battle with the infected that all started because Abby woke up the infected that were laying dormant while she fell down the side of a snow-covered hill. And do you remember that block pipe that I said about in last week's episode? Well, it's now being cleared, and one of the workers pulled out some of the blockage and noticed that there was some of the fungus growing inside, which triggered a signal, if you like, to the rest of the infected, kind of like a hive mind scenario. Hundreds of infected then ran towards the gates of Jackson, and they had to defend themselves with some pretty heavy artillery and the skills that they've clearly practiced in drills. It was quite the epic battle, to be honest with you, and it reminded me of a bit of Game of Thrones in the way that it was filmed and the grandness. I mean, I suppose it's HBO, but hats off. Tommy took on this season's bloated infected boss in a one-on-one that moments earlier tore through the defense wall and allowed the streets to be overwhelmed with the infected. And Tommy takes the bloated away from the main battle and his wife and absolutely lets rip with a flamethrower, basically using the full tank, which you think's going to be enough, but as Tommy's running out, this thing's still walking. But he does defeat the bloated boss and it collapses next to Tommy and dies, so score 1 for Tommy. Tommy then runs out and sees the devastation and finds his wife on the street, and the two share an embrace after the horrors that they've just faced. Okay, so now onto the big thing of this episode. We see Abby and the rest of the Fireflies take shelter in a lodge. Abby goes out on patrol, spots two people on horses, goes to intercept them, and then falls into the valley and wakes up the infected. We've gone over that bit. But what we didn't say is that she finds shelter-ish after crawling underneath the fence that's collapsed with all these infected on top of her, and Joel comes to save the day. But she didn't know it was Joel at this point until Dina let his name slip. With Abby now knowing that her target is within touching distance, all three of them flee, and Abby tells them to go back to the lodge rather than helping the fight at Jackson, and if there's a horde of infected on your backside, get wherever you can away from that. They all head up to the lodge, and the moment of the episode takes place. Abby confronts Joel, shoots him in the leg with a shotgun, starts her monologue that Joel really doesn't want to hear, and then she beats him within an inch of his life with a golf club. By this time, Ellie's arrived at the lodge after hearing Joel's missing, just in time to see Abby strike the final blow to Joel, killing him with the broken golf club straight through the neck. Now, as I said at the beginning, I still haven't played the second game yet, but I did hear about this scene, and it still shocked me to see on TV. I also hear that we get a bit more of an understanding of Abby and a bit more about her motivation and why she killed Joel, which wasn't shown in the game until way later on. And the acting between Caitlin Dever and Pedro Pascal in this scene was incredible. The dialogue between Abby and Joel, with Joel realising what he did had consequences and how they've come back to follow him, kind of giving Abby the nod to say that he understands it, was chef's kiss good. We also have to shout out Bella Ramsey, who in this scene showed how painful Joel's death is to Ellie. And I feel like she was acting out our pain and loss as well, because we've been emotionally connected to Joel from day dot. This episode was definitely a step up from the first one, and I actually really enjoyed it, but I am wondering where it goes from here. I mean, I've heard some bits of what happens in the game, but TV shows always do it a little bit differently, don't they? So I wonder how Ellie is going to carry on this story. Anyway, we'll find out next week. That's all from me, and I'll see you next time.